Recording mic on. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in front of me is a new gravel bike. This bike is from Primos Cycles. Primos Cycles is a newer brand out of Portland, Oregon. Basically, the story behind Primos is these two buddies that have a passion for bikes. They got together and they were like, hey, let's start a bike company. Let's design awesome bikes that have good builds, but offer them at an affordable price. So I honestly wasn't aware of Primos. They are like really new. But one of the guys, Carlos, he reached out to me and he was like, yo, Ty, would you be interested in checking out one of our bikes? And I was like, hell yeah, let's freaking go. Like, you're gonna send me a bike? So we got on a video conference and he's like, hey, pick out your color. We'll send you the bike. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'll check out the bike and then I'll like send it back. He's like, no, dude. He's like, keep it, ride it, tell us what you think. So I jumped at that opportunity. So this in front of me is the Primos Dame. This is their like adventure / all road / touring, kind of do it all steel frame gravel bike. So without further ado, let's get into this box and check this bike out. So in full transparency right now, I want to add, I am not a bike mechanic. I know how to set my tires up tubeless. I know how to change a chain on a bicycle. I know how to install brake pads, but that's basically where it stops. Yeah, baby. Let's pull out this box here. I'm assuming this is probably the tools to assemble the bike. Going out by the frame right here. Yeah, buddy. Get that out of here. And I'm just gonna continue to rip things apart. In the box here, looks like this is a chainstay protector. So it does come with a manual. Looks like a thing for a light, a saddle, seat post, some pedals, wrench, some Allen keys, got a tail reflector and a head light reflector. So if you are assembling this bike at home on your seat post, I use this like Park Tool lube here. It's a good idea just to put some of this, smear this around on the seat post. I've heard horror stories of people with steel bikes not doing this to their seat post, and the seat post get like fused to the frame of the bike and people can never get them out. So this is just kind of good to do. So on the stem of this bike, it does have torque specs listed, 6 Newton meters. I'm not gonna get the bars perfect right now. I do have a torque wrench, so I'm just gonna kind of snug the bolts up. And then when I do the first ride on the bike, I'll kind of ride around my neighborhood and get a feel for how I want things. And then I'll go ahead and torque those bolts to spec then. Let's put the front wheel on. Have I mentioned yet this bike sells for $799 and it has through axles. Let's freaking go, Primos. Let's go ahead and put the seat on. I've actually got a saddle coming that I'm gonna use for this bike. Basically, I'm gonna use this bike stock as is with the exception of the saddle and the pedals. But yeah, like saddles are just a personal thing. This one looks great. It looks like a fine saddle, but I use the same saddle on all of my bikes, and so yeah. Hell, while we're at it, might as well put the pedals on too. So typically that poly lube that I used for the other bolts, I would put on these pedals, but I'm not gonna keep these on, so I'm not gonna use it right now. So I just thought to myself, I'm going to grab my own pedal wrench for these pedals, but there's actually one included in the kit, and I have been using my own tools, but all the tools you need to assemble this bike come with the bike. Chainstay protector. Pretty common with every single bike I've put together in this garage. When you get a new bike, you hear that disc brake, you can hear the rubbing like on the brake caliper. Pretty easy fix. Basically, guys, I'm just gonna loosen the bolts where the brake caliper is mounted, and then we're gonna loosen these bolts. All right, now we're gonna spin the wheel hold the brake. As you hold the brake, I'm holding the brake in my hand. Retighten these bolts. And it should fix our problem. All right, let's see if that did it. Little bit of rub. The pads are brand new. That should work itself out. It's spinning pretty freely though. That's good. Let's spin the back wheel and let's see if we had the same issue with the rubbing that we did on the front. It's good. The drivetrain on this bike is a 1x micro shift sword, and I have zero experience actually using micro shift, but everything I've heard is that it offers a great bang for the buck. So let's run through the gears right now and kind of see how it shifts. Beautifully. Bike shifts perfect right out of the box. That's awesome. So the bike is fully built up, and my first impressions of this bike are that it looks really, really good. One thing I like about the bike is the Primos logo, and like the logos they use on this bike, they're kind of funky, and the bike's coming from Portland. Portland is kind of funky. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest, but it just seems like a funky kind of place, and it fits, and I really like that. I love the white. I got a white truck. I like white bike helmets. I just think white is clean. It looks really, really good. But I'm not gonna talk about the exact specifications of this bike. I will link this bike in the description of the video so you can look at the specifications for yourself, but I'm gonna talk about what I personally love about this bike. Guys, this is a $799 bike that can do pretty much anything you want to do. It comes with 50C tires and they're 650B wheels. I really, really like that, and I'm super excited about that. That's probably one of the things I'm most excited about with this bike. Guys, if I want to ride on the road and then hit some gravel and then maybe dip off into some single track, this bike can do all of that and handle it just fine. Those wide tires are gonna be freaking awesome. And I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure you can fit like a 60mm tire on the front for sure. And I think possibly even the back. So it will fit a wider tire. There's a race in Northwest Arkansas called the Rule of Three, where it's gravel, pavement, single track. A bike like this is like perfect for an event like that. Another thing is this bike has a ton of mounts. So if you wanted to do some bike touring on this bike, some bike packing on this bike, it would be really good for that. Or even if you just like wanted to use this bike as a commuter and strap a rack on the back and have a bunch of different water bottle mounts, it'd be great for that. I also really like the simplicity of this bike. It's a 1x drivetrain, less stuff to break, less weight. So I remember when I had that first conversation with Carlos and we were talking about bikes, and I just brought up the fact that a lot of bikes at this price point come with throwaway wheels. Like they come with cheap wheel sets, and Carlos said that one of the main things they wanted to focus on was having a quality wheel set. I don't remember the exact conversation, but basically this wheel set is way more solid than a lot of wheels you see on bikes at this price point. It comes with a good hub. He talked about the hub. Another thing that I think I pointed out earlier was through axles. You rarely see through axles on a bike at this price point, so I really, really appreciate that. I'm ready to get this thing out on some gravel, some pavement. I'm ready to get this thing on some single track and see how it performs. But Primos Cycles, guys, I'll link all of their information in the description of this video. Again, I haven't ridden the bike at all yet, but first impressions are for $800, $799, this is one hell of a deal. You know, this is a bike that if you're just looking to get into cycling and you want to do a little bit of everything, this could be it. So I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep crushing it. Oh, and I want to add, I forgot to mention this earlier. I probably had this bike assembled in like 30 minutes, and I am not very good mechanically. I don't do good at those things. So if I can do this, you can. It may be a little bit more difficult without the stand, but I think you could probably get it done.